Hello, you incredibly wonderful people of the internet. Well, it's almost the end. And by which I mean that the last episode is literally called The End. It has been a very long time for my cast and crew, and a very, very, very long time for me. All this wonderful entertainment that you've been watching for the past 11 months isn't as easy and hilarious to do as it looks. And that is what this video is about. This is the origin of Polterguys. So, way back in early 2012, little 20-year-old me was in London Euston Station waiting to get on a train to Bangor in Wales. Now in London we happen to have a free magazine which is given out to people or chucked in the street or left on chairs every Thursday called Shortlist. In that particular issue there was a competition for you to write a pilot episode so that it would be turned into a fully fledged series on Channel 4. So, what did I do? I threw it away and got on the train. I thought, pfft, I'm not a writer, I'm an actor. It wasn't until the following week that a colleague of mine at the London Dungeons approached me and said something along the lines of, "Hey, look at this. You want to create something and give it a shot? I mean, I'm studying film and you're an actor." So we did. We spent an entire weekend working on a script and meeting in locations and in pubs. Just a note to all those writers out there, it is perfectly acceptable to bring a laptop into a Starbucks. But at a Wetherspoons, they don't like it. And after bouncing a few ideas about and a lot of spelling mistakes, we had finally created Gary and the Glitters, the mockumentary. It was a lot edgier to Polterguys, and maybe someday I'll get around to doing it, but we're not here for that. It wasn't until a couple of weeks after that that a few friends of mine were sitting in a park on a hot summer's day talking about life and the universe and afterlife and all that jazz. I mean, of course we were. Hey, look at me. Look at that mullet. Blah! When I got the idea of, if I come back from the dead as a ghost, I'm going to haunt all my friends. And wouldn't that be funny? And just like that, the idea of a teenage Casper the Friendly Ghost came about. That evening I went home and wrote down some really strange ideas, which is where we get onto the segment I like to call The Meaning of Polterguys. Let's start with Tony. Lovable Tony. Why that name? Well, I could say he's the main character and I needed a name that I could change because I'd be saying it over and over and over again and hopefully not get boring for people.
Not Ant.
And Anthony.
Tony, Tony, Tony. Tony.
Fun fact, Jim never calls Anthony Ant or Anthony, only Tony. Apart from when he's being sincere. But the origin of that name is that one of my friends was actually going out with a guy called Anthony, and he was a bit of a dick. And killing him off in a series is kind of dark when you think about it. I chose the name Dan because, well, I thought it was a pretty normal and average name. I needed a character to be normal for the audience to relate to. Sorry, Dan. And then we get to Jim. From writing Jim's first line, I knew he was essentially me. I was 20, I was a knob, I was immature and lazy. I had a job that started at 3 PM, which means I actually used to have cereal for lunch and sometimes dinner. And people used to call me Jimmy. And then we get to the other names. This is a show about death and spirituality, and it needed some deadly names. And here's a list of some of them. Daisy, as in pushing up daisies, as in you're dead. Samuel Velhing, as in that one's pretty obvious. Mary, as in Mother of Jesus, as in the guy that came back from the dead. Eve, as in that one's also pretty obvious. Anthony Swide, as in shortened word for suicide. Daniel Headston, as in headstone, as in gravestone. Jimothy Gates, as in pearly gates. Beth, as in rhymes with death, and these ones get a lot worse as they go on. Other names are just pop culture references.
Have you met Jeff? With that Michael guy?
Some are private jokes between me and my friends.
I'm dead. Larry's not just a bag of flour, he's our bag of flour. Uncle Steve.
And some names are just cool.
Hello, I'm Lillian.
But anyway, back to the story. I wrote the pilot to Polterguys, sent it in, and nothing happened. They didn't like it. Chose some other show instead. Probably did really badly anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, Glamour Woman of the Year, Mindy Kaling.
And I didn't write any more for about 2 years. When I was looking through old files on my computer, I came across the script, reread it, and thought, yeah, this is actually quite funny, if I do say so myself. So I thought, well, fuck it, I'm gonna finish this. Now at that point in my life, I was in a really bad place. I was in a dead-end job, badly paid, ungodly hours. I was in a new and quite bad relationship. I hadn't performed or acted since school, and I thought my dreams and passion were shit. I thought that soon I would have to find something else to enjoy. So I started writing. A lot. And I enjoyed it. And after a couple of months, I finished season 1 of Polterguys. Now, I always knew it was going to be a 3-season series. When I decided, well, fuck it, I'm going to finish this, I knew exactly how I was going to end it. But I'd finished season 1, and what I did next was I rewrote it. About 4 or 5 more times before showing it to anybody. And when I thought it was ready, I organised a read-through, and I was so scared. The last year or so was going to be bottled down and critiqued in an afternoon at the pub. No laptops this time. So I gathered a few of my closest friends, and they read it through and performed it, and they laughed. Even at some of the things I didn't intend to be funny, which for me was the greatest feeling in the world. Of course, it wasn't perfect, and I got feedback, and I rewrote it a couple more times, did 2 more read-throughs, and even more rewrites. Some of the things I wrote I miss, others I'm glad they went. Which is why I've called this segment, Things That Could Have Been in Polterguys. Samuel Velhing was meant to be a black guy, but I didn't know any black actors, so I had to change it. Not a racist. Daniel had a boss, and he was going to be exactly like...
Call me buddy, I'm the boss.
And it would have been cool, he would have been like, Dan, I'm the boss, baba da boopy. Fuck it. Poltergeist landed at a whopping 45 minutes per episode. I did a lot of writing. The episodes were never originally titled. The titles came from puns that the characters said in the show. Samuel Velhing had an episode all to himself, and it was very similar to the Batman series. What happens is his mum cheats on his dad with a ghost, so he runs away to a church and meets a priest who adopts him and teaches him all about ghost hunting and spirits. Then he goes to see a show, and outside the show, his priest dad person gets into a fight in a back alley with a possessed person and rips off his collar, similar to how the person rips off Batman mum's chain necklace, and then he turns into a ghost hunter. But that was way too expensive to film. Fucking hell. Daniel could have been a girl at one point. Beth could have been played by Lillian at one point. Jim was going to have a new job every single episode. The main antagonist of season 3 was originally going to be Dan's uncle, and not Eve. Eve was originally going to be Adam, not Eve. Instead of a dolphin costume, Jim was going to be dressed as Jimmy Savile, but people really didn't like it. So when searching for funny Halloween costumes, I used Sam, our cinematographer's phone. And the first thing I saw on his recently searched was, why are there more dolphin attacks than there are sharks? Dan's fight at the end with his uncle was going to be a lot darker and involve child abuse, or uncle abuse. He was going to abuse his uncle and... Fuck it. I wrote season 3 in a week. Come on. So after about 50 more rewrites, I decided it was kind of ready. Or at least I knew that if I edited any more, it would either never be ready or just get worse. It was time to put names to a page to faces on a screen. I'd recently been involved in a pantomime and met a load of lovely actors. Well, 2. Sam and Gemma. That's me. Man of many talents. Aha! I had my Tony. I knew before I asked him, I wanted him. That just left everybody else. I recently held open auditions, and that is where I met this lovely chap. And there I had my trio. Other people auditioned for other parts, and it was all lovely. Apart from one story that I like to call the Pip Protestant. This lovely guy came to the audition, and I'm not going to name names for legal reasons, and I can't actually remember his name, but he was also auditioning for the role of Dan, and I gave him this monologue.
It's gonna be right again, and I can finally stop using my Facebook to masturbate to.
And during the audition, I noticed that he was practicing his lines with a friend that he had brought with. So he performed his lines, and afterwards I had to ask him, doesn't your friend... who's that? And he said, oh, No, I live really far away, so my mum had to drive me. Shit. I had just asked a guy to perform
My Facebook to masturbate to. To masturbate to. To masturbate to. To masturbate to.
front of his mum. And I thought, well, shit. He's come all this way, I've got to offer him something, so I asked for his email address. His email address included numbers which correlated to the year he was born. He was almost 17. Shit. Again. So I went home and thought, maybe he's done other things which have been rude or risque or fucking disgusting. So I searched for him and found his little acting bio, and he had done two things. Two things with his church. Fucking shit again. So I thought, fuck it, well, I'm packing my bags, I'm on a register, I've got to go somewhere. I'm sorry, I couldn't offer him a role. If you're watching this, wherever you are, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Please, don't make me go to hell. For other cast members I met in my acting adventures along the way, the amount of people I've met in a fucking pantomime is ridiculous. And the rest is history. The past 5 years has been horrible and amazing and worth all the arguments and the tears and the money spent. And thanks to my team, my friends, this one ridiculous idea has won 3 awards, a trophy, and has made people laugh. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the final episode of Polterguys, which is dedicated, in fact, all of Polterguys is dedicated to our #1 fan, my mum. A wonderful woman who, from the very beginning, donated the most to our Indiegogo campaign, watched the episodes multiple times, enough to quote them, and who, from the very start, believed I could do it, and who sadly never got the chance to finish it. So, Mum, this is for you.